The latest release from the U.S. Department of Justice has added a disturbing new layer to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Among thousands of newly released, heavily redacted records are never-before-seen photographs that appear to show the dead pedophile kissing, holding, and closely interacting with very young children. These images were discovered displayed inside Epstein's Little St. James Island estate in the U.S. Virgin Islands, framed and mounted on an ornately carved wooden bookshelf. According to the DOJ, the faces of the children have been fully redacted to protect potential victims. Officials say it is not clear who the children are, nor whether they were victims of Epstein, but the images themselves have raised serious concern. In one image included in the release, Epstein is seen wearing a robe, eyes closed, cradling what appears to be a very young blonde girl in his arms. Another photograph shows Epstein seated on a private jet, smiling broadly, with his arm wrapped around a young girl wearing a powder blue sweatshirt. In a third image, Epstein looks directly at the camera as he kisses a red-haired girl, who appears to be wearing pigtails. Also visible among the framed photographs is an image of a naked infant bathing in a sink, displayed openly on a wall inside the residence. The DOJ has not released ages, names, or identities connected to the photos, stating only that the redactions were made out of caution. The children seen in the images appear to be significantly younger than the teenage girls Epstein admitted to paying for intercourse as part of his 2008 federal plea deal. That deal allowed Epstein to avoid federal prosecution at the time, despite multiple allegations involving minors. The newly released photographs were not previously disclosed during earlier investigations or court proceedings. The DOJ confirmed the images were part of a larger tranche of Epstein-related materials released to meet a congressionally mandated deadline. The photo release comes alongside renewed attention on a 1996 FBI warning, now corroborated by documents, from a former Epstein employee who reported his interest in child pornography. At the time, the FBI did not act, according to records included in the document dump. Advocates and survivors say the inaction may have allowed Epstein's abuse to continue for decades.
Maria Farmer was a professional artist. She was about 25 years old. She had graduated from the New York Academy of Art, a figurative arts school in New York, and she was working as an employee for Jeffrey Epstein in New York City. She has consistently and repeatedly said that in 1996, in the summer of 1996, she reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI after having reported him to the New York Police Department. She reported Epstein and she reported Ghislaine Maxwell as well for child sex abuse crimes, including child pornography. We've spent many years trying to get her records through Freedom of Information Act requests, which are the classic way to get them. The most recent Freedom of Information Act request I made was in January. I got a response in January 2025, that's earlier this year. And they told me that they wouldn't get back to me before November 2027 to just answer my request. And this has been and when we've seen anything from the government, which is infrequent, it's highly redacted information. And we've never seen anything before corroborating her 1996 report, but we just saw it yesterday for the first time in 30 years, which is remarkable. Remarkable, really remarkable. All we know right now from the documents is that there was a clear and corroborated report that Maria Farmer did exactly what she has said for 30 years that she did. She reported Epstein to the authorities, to the federal authorities, to the FBI. And as far as we can tell, and I wish I knew, Kristen, I wish I had more information out of the files or otherwise, it looks like the government did absolutely nothing. And as a result, having done nothing, having failed to act, horrible things have happened. Had they acted, had they investigated in even the smallest way, they could have stopped him. And it's not just the victims, it's also the victims' families, because it affects not just that person, but everyone they deal with, their loved ones, the people that they come in contact with, their ability to function in society. So it affected thousands of lives, and they could have spared that for those thousands of people, and they could have avoided 30 years of trauma if they had just done their job. One of the key things we want to accomplish with this release of files is transparency. Another key thing is belief, restoration of public trust in the institutions. And a third thing is accountability. And so far, we're not hitting any of those marks. Maria said it beautifully to me yesterday. She said it's tears of joy and tears of sadness. Tears of joy because she's now validated. She's vindicated. Yes, she did what she said she did. And that the world can now see that. And all those naysayers, and there have been a lot of naysayers accusing her of not telling the truth, who disregarded her, discarded her, dismissed her for so many years, decades. She's now has some kind of corroboration and vindication that this is true. And the sadness, the tears of sadness, because look at the waste of the 30 years. And not only for her, but for so many victims, whether it's Virginia Giuffre or all the other survivors who didn't have to be.
Just put out the files and stop redacting names that don't need to be redacted. It's just, who are we trying to protect? Are we protecting the survivors, or are we protecting these elite men that need to be put out there? And people need to know these are predators that are in the files. They need to be brought to justice so they can stop doing this in the long run. It's for everyone's safety at the end of the day. I haven't gone through all of it, so I don't want to speak, I don't want to say the wrong things, but I do understand that also a lot of important, people have been redacted from it. And the whole process of being transparent was to only redact the survivors and the victims' names. So here we are right where we started with the first files. These names that need to be put out there, people need to know about these people, have been redacted. So it's a little bit confusing. I feel like, again, the DOJ, the justice system, is failing us. In the beginning, they were calling us a hoax, right? They were like saying that we were a hoax. And now they're like, we believe you. We're going to release the files. But yet you still haven't released the files, and it's not even full transparent. So it's very nice to say it, but it's also nice to actually do it.